Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nefertari and Kinjay back with your Week 7, Day 30 distance learning lesson. It's a pleasure to be back with you, ninth graders. I hope that all has been well. As we get into today's lesson, it's certainly a pleasure to operate as your distance learning instructor once again. Just start off with a bit of an introduction. My name is Ned. N to the EF. I'm teaching cause I'm so deaf. All right, I agree. It needs work. Let's get started. What can you expect from these videos? Each of your daily videos will be a little different depending on the lesson, but here's the general structure that each video will follow. There'll be a list of the resources and materials needed for the lesson, a brief overview of the learning for the lesson, a quick modeling of some of the reading, thinking, speaking, and writing required for the lesson, and a preview of upcoming lessons. In terms of a weekly snapshot, in your last lesson, you closely read an article that examined how practice ties into our destiny. For today's lesson, we'll launch a new text. It's entitled, "The Sun is Also a Star," and today we will engage in a jumpstart activity and concept vocabulary. Always remember to share your learning with a family member. Complete the weekly fluency activity using a page from the text and do at least 20 minutes of additional reading every day after completing your lesson. It's time for our riddle of the day. Let's think about this riddle, students, before we reveal the answer. What can you catch but never throw? What can you catch but never throw? I'll give you a couple of moments to think about that. Let's reveal the answer. A cold. You can catch a cold, you can't throw it. If you wash your hands, chances are you won't give anyone your germs either. The materials you'll need for this lesson are in your packets and they're also displayed on your screen. Let's review those materials now. We are engaging in Lesson 30. That can be found on page 85 of your packet. You'll need your note catcher, the text, our article, "The Sun is Also a Star," can be found on pages 84 and 85. You'll also need a pencil or a pen. All right, to quickly introduce this week's focus, we are engaging in a study of this article, "The Sun is Also a Star." As we're reading, let's keep these two guiding questions in mind. Do we determine our own destiny? And how does the popularity of stories focused on destiny reflect human beings' common desire to control their own fate? Our learning target. Let's read it together. I can define the concept vocabulary presented in the text. I can explain the universal appeal of stories about love and destiny. An overview of our lesson. So today we'll start by reading the text. Read the title and the captions of "The Sun is Also a Star." After you've read that, you'll find that this is a timely film about teen romance. Then think about this question. What do stories about love and destiny typically have in common? What do stories about love and destiny typically have in common? Generate a list and include your list on your note catcher. Provide examples from a text or a story that you've read during this unit, and then predict what you think this film, The Sun is Also a Star, will be about. Next, I'd like for you to talk with a family member, caregiver, or friend. Talk about the following question. What do you think makes stories or movies about love and destiny so popular? Provide examples and then record your responses on the note catcher. Lastly, you'll engage in a write activity. For our writing today, you will define the vocabulary words from the text and use the chart in the note catcher. Let's start with read and think. As you start reading, I'd like for you to think about the graphics that are sometimes included in text, particularly informational texts. So, graphics combine the text, the illustration, and lots of color. If the image doesn't have any text, there's usually a caption. That's the accompanying words that gives you information. Graphics include the photographs, the illustrations, any graphs, infographics, maps, diagrams, or other images. This is what you should think about, students. As you read, think about the things that love and destiny typically have in common. As you make a list, use examples from this text or connect it to another story you've read in this unit. Lastly, predict what you think this film, this movie, The Sun is Also a Star, will be about. Let's engage in a quick model of today's first read. If you'll look at paragraph 1, you'll see that I annotated by underlining this first sentence with a title that reads like a line of bad teenage love poetry, one whose I might as well be dotted with a heart, and a plot that involves a series of improbable coincidences. The Sun is Also a Star seems on the surface as if it wouldn't appeal to many beyond the target demographic of its source material. We can pause there. By reading paragraph 1, I can determine that this article quickly establishes the intended audience for the film, adolescents or teenagers. How did I know that? I had already underlined this first line, which says that the title reads like a line of bad teenage love poetry. Also, here, this word target demographic, I circled it because I really wasn't sure of what that word phrase meant. But looking at the word phrase, a story entitled The Sun is Also a Star, featuring Yara Shahidi and another young person in an embrace in the illustration, gives me a clue that this is designed for teenagers. That prediction is confirmed here with this phrase, bad teenage love poetry. So I know that these words, target demographic, means that this is targeted to a certain age group or population. And this film, as well as this article, is targeted to young people. As I continued reading, I annotated this line in paragraph 2, the movie's premise is timely. And then in paragraph 3, I underlined this phrase, but there's a catch. Natasha's family is about to be deported the next day. Can she get the court to reverse the decision? Will Daniel put aside his dream to pursue the profession? Well, before we get to what Daniel's dream is and why his dad wants him to do something else, aside from noticing that the target audience for the film upon which this article is based is teenagers, I would also annotate these unfamiliar word phrases as you see here, because this helps to determine the conflict in this article and in the film. which is that there's tension existing between what the teens want and what their parents want for them. As always, you will finish up your lesson by talking and writing. So talk with a family member, caregiver, or friend about this question. What do you think makes stories or movies about love and destiny so popular? Then for write, we have a picture of what the note catcher looks like for day one of our work. First, we're going to define the vocabulary words from the text using the chart found in the right section. And then as you think about the questions that we've already reviewed in the think and this jumpstart, go ahead and record your answers in this space on the note catcher. Don't forget to close out your lesson this way. Brainstorm a list of books or movies, aim for at least 5 about love and destiny that feature teenagers as the lead characters. There are lots of films that you all have probably already seen that focus on teenagers. Brainstorm that list. Was it difficult for you to come up with a list? Why or why not? Record your answer to that question in this space. If you have questions, as always, email your teachers for support. As a preview of our upcoming lesson, we will continue our analysis of the article by reading and summarizing the information presented in the article, "The Sun is Also a Star." We will also identify the CRE. That's the claim, reasons, and evidence or examples from the text. Thank you for learning with me today. Don't forget to talk about your lesson with someone, read 20 minutes and complete a reading log entry, and practice your reading fluency using the first or second page of your weekly reading. Until next time, bye.